What's up, everybody? It's Nosy Boy back at you with the next episode of Character Concepts. Last time we covered Obi-Wan Kenobi, and this time we're going to cover his cowardly cyborg rival, General Grievous. Before we get into that, I am so sorry this episode is coming out late. I was having issues coming up with a balanced Grievous concept that fit the character. Rather than rushing this video out, I took some extra time to finish it up. Also, a ton of my subscribers are in school or at work when I release videos, so this series is just going to start coming out on Saturdays in general. I had to make an executive decision here, and I believe it was the right one, honestly. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more of your favorite characters getting put into Battlefront 2. I guarantee you that you aren't going to find this much detail anywhere else, and we all know that DICE isn't going to do anything with these characters anytime soon. So hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 3,000. We can do it. I know you love this series. Anyways, with all that aside, let's get into General Grievous. Getting right into the basics, General Grievous's default appearance will be his capeless look from Revenge of the Sith. He will have 800 health and can take 250 damage before losing permanent health. Now, my goal here is to make him kind of play like a tanky Darth Maul. After all, Grievous is known for an overwhelming offense and he is deceptively fast. Quick side note, I feel like I cite Darth Maul a lot in these character concepts, but that's just because Darth Maul is the most balanced character in the game, straight up. Back to the video, his walk speed will be slow, even slightly slower than Darth Vader. However, his running speed will be among the fastest in the game with Luke and Darth Maul. His running animation will be his spider crawl from episode 3 when he's running away from Kenobi. It would be pretty tricky to animate, but making Grievous a very tough target to hit at the same time. Grievous is able to block in his default state, unlike Darth Maul, but Grievous can't deflect blaster bolts, only block them. We will revisit this with his first ability though, so don't hold on to that too tightly. Dodges are dashes with decent range and speed. Think about Darth Vader's dash, for instance. I feel like I should also clarify that Grievous will have jumps similar to Bosk. It makes sense to me that a cyborg with robotic legs should be able to jump higher than a normal human, like Han Solo, but not quite as high as Force users, like Luke Skywalker. And in the air, Grievous will not be able to block and is going to be pretty vulnerable. Moving on to the weapons, which we already kind of spoiled by talking about his blocking, General Grievous is equipped with 4 lightsabers from Fallen Jedi, 2 green and 2 blue. However, he only has 1 green and 1 blue equipped at default. Do not worry, we will come back to this later with his first ability. In this state, Grievous trades speed for power. Grievous's lightsaber swings do 125 damage and he can swing once every second and a half. This puts his DPS at around 187.5. With his slow walk speed and inability to deflect shots, I believe him having the highest damage is pretty balanced. Grievous is also a cyborg that doesn't get physically exhausted, so I'm not going to give him stamina. It doesn't make sense. He will, just like every other lightsaber character, be stunned slightly when his lightsaber swings are blocked, though. Now to get to his first ability, where I believe Grievous becomes the most interesting character in the entire game by a mile. General Grievous's first ability is called Stance Change, and when Grievous uses it, he switches between the 2 lightsaber stance and the 4 lightsaber stance. He would be able to stay in these stances for as long as he wants, however, he cannot constantly switch between them. Once he changes stances, he won't be able to do it again for another 5 seconds. In his forearm stance, Grievous loses his ability to block completely, and each saber swing drops to 100 damage. However, he can land 2.5 swings in a second, giving him 250 damage per second. Grievous will also have 10% faster walk speed in his forearm stance, allowing him to move between targets a little easier. To keep the stance from being too tanky, since his damage has increased by so much, four-armed Grievous loses 100 max health in this state. To clarify, if Grievous is in his two-armed stance and has less than 100 health, let's say he has 90 health, he won't die by switching to his four-arm stance. Grievous only loses 100 health from his maximum health pool. He would still have 90 health when he switches between them. His sprint speed would remain the same, nothing would change about his jump. All that really changes are his attacks, walk speed, and his health. For the second ability, we have Lightsaber Charge. Grievous launches himself forward with spinning lightsabers in front of him, doing 130 damage to anything he passes through. It would perform kind of like Darth Maul and Yoda's dash ability, and Grievous would have 2 dashes at any time, and would share the same 5-second cooldown that the others do. Since it shares damage and cooldown with another character, I feel like there's no way this ability could be classified as overpowered. In addition, Grievous is spinning his lightsabers in front of him, so blaster bolts shot towards the front of Grievous will be blocked as he dashes. Between his running speed and dashes, this keeps Grievous as a pretty mobile target, something most lightsaber heroes need. Without the obnoxious health pool and defensive abilities as Vader, Grievous can't just be a bullet sponge. He needs to stay mobile and avoid his slow walk speed as much as possible. Every character needs a weakness, and I feel like his slow walk speed, for me, is going to be Grievous's weakness, and his abilities are going to work around that. And that includes the next one, so let's just get to it! The final ability is pretty unique, and it's going to help keep Grievous mobile. It's going to be a somewhat high cooldown leap for the guy. Crushing Leap is going to do 250 damage, but only on the character he directly lands on. Basically, you aim at a target and tap the ability button. Grievous then leaps onto that character and kills them as long as they're not overhealed, a reinforcement, or a hero. Enemies who survive the hit will be knocked down on the ground for 2 seconds. The landing zone will be the size of Chewie Slam, and everyone caught in that range will take 20 damage and get knocked down for 1.5 seconds. This ability is going to be on a 15-second cooldown, and after landing, Grievous isn't going to be able to sprint or run for the next 1.5 seconds. This just keeps Grievous from being too mobile and hard to hit, and forces you to consider whether it's wisest to leap with the slower walk speed and blocking ability, or the faster walk speed and inability to block. Grievous cannot use this ability in the air, as he needs his feet on the ground for the initial launch into the air to come down on someone. Moving right along into star cards, we have Droid General. General Grievous's lightsabers do more damage when standing near allies. At common, this is only 3 damage per swing, but at epic, this is 12. This helps his damage a lot, and I don't think it's too OP because Yoda has a card like this, and it bumps his lightsaber damage to something like 131. Like, Yoda's ridiculous, guys. Yoda's so good. If you do bad with Yoda, just as a small tangent, if you do bad with him in HVV, that is all you. His damage is insane, so I really don't think this card would make Grievous any more insane than Yoda is. Yoda's pretty great. Grievous would be balanced. Next up, we have Cyborg Plating. General Grievous takes less damage from all blaster shots. At common, this is a 10% damage decrease, and at epic, this is 16%. This is just going to help General Grievous's tankiness that much more. It's nothing too crazy, but every little bit helps. Next, we've got You Fools! General Grievous has a faster recharge rate for all of his abilities, excluding stance change. At common, this is a 7% increase, but at epic, this is a 15% increase. His abilities will all come back 15% faster. I know Maul's caps at 10%, but Maul actually has a third ability, and Grievous has a stance change in only 2. So I think this is fair, and I think this is a balanced card. Moving right along, we have Separatist Tank. Grievous loses the ability to stance switch, and that ability now gives General Grievous 200 temporary health. At common, this is 9 seconds of temporary health, and at epic, this is 15 seconds. This ability would be on a 15-second cooldown. It would basically just change his stance switch into a kind of Vader-focused rage buff. Let me know what you think of it. I think it's kind of interesting to be able to turn Grievous into like this tank this straight up tank that can take tons and tons of damage versus this rush down character that just murders everybody. Let me know what you think. I'm genuinely curious. I like this one a lot. Next we have Kaleesh Instincts. General Grievous receives less damage for 5 seconds after using Stance Switch. At common, this is a 15% decrease to all damage taken, and at epic, this is a 30% decrease. You can either use this alone to give Grievous some kind of temporary tank buff and allow him to survive more as you're leaping between people, or you could pair this with the last ability and straight up turn it into Focus Rage. I think that would be really interesting, and I think there's a lot you could do with Grievous's star cards. I'm so happy with how this guy came out. Let me know if you think he was worth the wait. I think this is dope. I love these cards. This next one's pretty easy. Unrelenting Assault. General Grievous can do 1 extra Lightsaber Charge, but the recharge rate is slightly slower. At common, this is 25% slower, and at epic, this is 10% slower. This is on Yoda, this is on Luke, this is on Maul. You know this card. It's a good card. Next, we've got Oppressive Offense. General Grievous's next lightsaber swing after using Lightsaber Charge does more damage. At common, this is 50% increase in damage, and at epic, this is 100% increase in damage. His next lightsaber swing after he charges is going to do double the damage at epic. This is awesome if you love just rushing people down and just making them die. If you just love making people die in Battlefront, I think this card's a must-have. Again, I like these cards. I'm really giddy about these cards. Now we've got Uncontrolled Leap. General Grievous's leap does 50 damage to enemies caught inside the range of Grievous's leap, but it has a higher cooldown. At common, this is a 25-second cooldown, and at epic, this is a 20-second cooldown. If you remember, the people within the range of this ability when he lands would take 20 damage. This is going to increase that by 30 to all enemies hit, and increase the cooldown just slightly. Finally, we have Hard to Kill. General Grievous gets 100 temporary health for a duration after killing an enemy with his leap. At common, this is 5 seconds, and at epic, this is a 10-second duration. I did not want to give Grievous that card where every time you kill an enemy, you get 20 health. Maul doesn't have it, and he's perfect. I thought if I gave Grievous that card, he would be impossible to kill. Grievous kills so easily. I just didn't want that to happen. So Grievous gets temporary health if he manages to kill someone with his leap. That's nothing crazy. I don't think it's crazy. I think this is the most balanced health card he can have. You all know what time of the video it is. It is Nosey's favorite time of the video. It's skins and emotes, and Grievous doesn't have a ton of options for skins and emotes. But I think I've managed to come up with some decent stuff. For cheaper skins, you could have Grievous fighting with all 4 green lightsabers or all 4 blue lightsabers. His collection is pretty large, so it's logical in canon. In Legends, Grievous did have this secret collection of Sith lightsabers. This hasn't been completely ruled out by canon, so a red lightsaber skin for Grievous wouldn't be impossible. It's highly unlikely, but possible. Back to canon, a battle-damaged Grievous could work well. I mean, we see Grievous in pretty bad shape in Lair of Grievous from Clone Wars, so it could work in-game. And finally, we could get Grievous with his cape skin. It would be difficult to animate because of the unique running animation, but it could still work and offer a pretty unique appearance for the Jedi hunting general. I mean, that's really all I've got. I'm sorry.
Your lightsabers will make a fine addition to my collection. Back away! I will deal with this Jedi slime myself. You fool! I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku. Army or not, you must realize you are doomed.
My idea for General Grievous was to introduce stance switching to Battlefront 2, because I feel like it opens up a lot of possibilities for future characters. I'm also not a fan at all of being limited in time for how long you could have 4 lightsabers or how long you could have 2 lightsabers. It just felt so much more natural to me to let him do either with benefits for each stance. One stance being tankier and the other would be more offensive. This means that General Grievous really only has 2 abilities, so I wanted them both to be pretty good. They do an excellent job at keeping the General mobile, and they do great damage. None of Grievous's star cards give him permanent health back. Giving heroes this mobile and this damaging the ability to sustain themselves is just too much. I mean, just look at Palpatine in this game. My design philosophy for General Grievous was to create a character that represented what we see from the movies and the show without making him too powerful. I wanted him to be fast, strong, and tanky. I wanted players to be able to have the choice of 2 lightsabers or 4, and I truly believe Grievous is my most balanced hero for this game yet. In Galactic Assault, Grievous would do well in close quarters and in medium range, but he really begins to struggle at the long ranges. The character would focus on intense assaults by engaging an enemy with an ability and doing as much damage as he can before using another ability to escape. Without a way to gain permanent health back, Grievous needs to stay aware of how much health he has. The character would definitely be most capable of longer kill streaks and would very easily change the tide of battle. In Heroes vs. Villains, Grievous would be a hero-killing machine. His leap and dashes would be able to overwhelm enemies pretty easily. However, if he gets stunned, it's going to be game over for the General, especially if he's in his 4-armed stance and unable to block. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to vote in the poll in the description. It's going to end on Monday morning. The race between Anakin and Captain Rex is super tight, so make sure to go vote for your favorite. Make sure your favorite wins. There's only 1 vote difference between them. Go pick! Also, make sure to join my Discord. The link is in the description below. We recently hit 100 members on Discord, and that's super exciting. I also have to give a huge shout out to the guy who helped come up with the idea for the Discord, the guy who helped me make it. He goes by Obi-Wan in the server chat, and his Twitch TV is Unskilled Set. I'm not planning on streaming until closer to summer anyways, so you guys should go watch him on Twitch. Go hang with me in his chat. I would go follow him and check out his stuff. He's super funny. He's super nice. I really recommend him to you guys. I'm going to be in the chat a lot of the time when he streams, and he loves streaming Battlefront. Also, in the Discord, we are currently working on a series that includes the Discord members on this channel in the next few weeks. So go join up for a chance to be featured on the Nosy Boy channel. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, link in the description as well, and to subscribe for more of this series. Hit that subscribe button. I know you want to. Please, just go hit the subscribe button. Anyways, it's going to remain on this channel every week. You definitely need to stay tuned to this series. I don't want you guys to miss out. With all of that said, I'll catch you in the next video.